Hello, so this is a video report that is all about discussing the solar thermal system. So first of all, I would like to introduce ourselves. De La Cruz Ivan, Castro Mark Vincent, Salamanca Milmar, Garcia Merrill, Hora Franzar, and I am Carlo Bakungan. We are the reporters for this video report. Next will be the topics that we will be discussing are the introduction of solar thermal system, working of solar thermal system, types of solar thermal system, and then the difference of two linear Fresnel reflector, and of course the advantages and disadvantages. So the introduction wherein solar thermal electric power systems collect and concentrate sunlight to produce the high temperatures needed to generate electricity. All solar thermal power systems have solar energy collectors with two main components, which are the reflectors or the mirrors that capture and focus sunlight onto a receiver. Solar energy is a energy from the sun that's convert into electricity and heat. It's a renewable energy source that's clean and abundant. Solar thermal electricity power system convert renewable solar energy by using large mirrors to capture and concentrate sunlight onto a specific receiver. This process generates the intense heat necessary to produce steam, which then drives turbine to create electricity. Essentially, these systems turn the sun's natural warmth into a powerful fuel source that can provide sustainable energy for our communities. So the next one is the working of solar thermal system. But how does it really works? A solar thermal system works by capturing the sunlight using solar collectors, which then convert the solar radiation into heat that is transferred to a circulating fluid like water or a mixture of water and antifreeze, and then stored in a tank, allowing the heated fluid to be used for hot water or space heating purposes. Essentially, sunlight is absorbed by the collector, heating a fluid that carries the heat to where it's needed, often which with the help of a pump and a storage tank to ensure the consistent heat availability even when the sun isn't shining directly. So, a solar thermal system operates in three specific stages to turn sunlight into a usable heat. Collection. Solar collectors, which can be called a funnel or tubes, that can absorb solar radiation and convert it into thermal energy. The second one will be the transfer. A circulating fluid such as water or antifreeze mixture flows through the collector to pick up this heat. And then the last one is the storage and the use of it. This heated fluid is pumped into a insulated storage tank where it remains ready to provide hot water or space heating even when the sun is not out.
Types of solar thermal system. The first one is the parabolic trough, linear Fresnel reflector, and the compact linear Fresnel reflector, the parabolic dish, and the solar tower. So, ano nga ba ang parabolic trough? Ang parabolic trough is one of the type of solar thermal collector na gumagamit ng curved mirrors para i-focus yung sunlight sa isang receiver tube na nasa gitna. So dahil naka-curve yung salamin, nafo-focus yung init sa isang line, kaya mas tumataas yung temperature ng fluid na dumadaan sa receiver tube. Makikita rin sa example figure here na naka-orient siya from north to south at meron itong tracking system. So basically, gumagalaw siya para sundan yung araw. This is very important kasi mas maraming sikat ng araw ang nasasalo, kaya mas efficient yung system sa pagkuha ng solar energy. Here in the next slide, we're gonna discuss kung paano nga ba gumagana ang parabolic trough. First, a long parabolic shaped reflector focuses sunlight into the receiver pipe. Second is the collector tilts with the sun to keep sunlight focused on the receiver. Next is the receiver tube contains oil that is heated by the concentrated sunlight. The oil flows through pipes to a power plant where it boils water, and the resulting steam produces electricity in a conventional steam generator. Dito naman sa next slide ay makikita yung buong system ng power plant. Yung init na galing sa parabolic trough collectors, ini-store muna sa thermal storage tanks na may hot tank at cold tank. Kapag kailangan ng kuryente, ginagamit yung stored heat para gumawa ng steam na magpapaikot sa turbine. And then doon nagge-generate ng electricity. Kaya kahit gabi or maulap, may supply pa rin ng energy dahil sa thermal storage. So in short, ang Parabolic Trough Solar Collector or PTSC is a device that concentrates sunlight into a tube to heat a fluid which can then be used to generate electricity or heat water.
So, I'm going to discuss linear Fresnel reflector. Linear Fresnel reflector is a solar-powered system that uses flat mirror or medyo curved siya upang ang liwanag ng araw ay i-reflect sa nakapix na tube nito, yung nasa taas. And para painitin yung tube nito. Ang mga salamin na ito ay naka-arrange in a row at sumusunod ito sa movement ng araw upang ituro ang mga sinag nito patungo sa tube. Kunyari magre-reflect siya sa mirror patungo naman dun sa taga-absorb dun sa tube niya. And sa loob ng tube nito ay may fluids, yun yung pinapainit. Habang ina-absorb ang energy mula sa araw at pag ito ay uminit na, ay maaari na siyang tumungo sa iba pang niyang equipment like kunyari doon sa steam turbine upang makabuo nga siya ng electricity. Ang linear Fresnel reflector ay pinahahalagahan sapagkat ito ay mura lamang, hindi katulad ng iba pang mga concentrated solar is mas mahal. And mas madali din itong i-install kumpara sa ibang concentrated solar power. Sa naunang slide is ginagamit din ang linear Fresnel reflector sa industrial at domestic use. In additional, with this steam heat is also can be used directly para sa prosesong pang industrial like sa mga paggawa o kaya pag alis ng asin sa water o kaya naman sa mga pangangailangan pambahay like pagpapainit ng mga spaces o kaya sa mainit na tubig. Angkop din ito para sa parehong malaki ang paggawa ng kuryente at maliit na application. And makikita din sa figure na nandun yung linear Fresnel reflector niya. And absorb nun yung sunlight patungo sa tube. And sa tube na is may fluids naman na tutungo sa kanyang turbine generator and para mag-conduct ng kuryente. Yung iba naman tutungo naman sa kanyang steam condenser and yun yung magiging cycle niya. Paulit-ulit siya na gaganon yung fluids para painitin ulit. Next naman tayo sa linear Fresnel reflector or LFR. Ito yung concentrated solar power system and papaliwanag din yung key components and yung process nito. Dito tayo sa mirror and yung kanyang trackers. Ang mga flat or medyo curved na salamin ay nakamount sa mga tracker nito sa lupa, and upang makasunod ito sa movement ng sun, and upang ma-maximize yung sunlight capture nito. And dito naman tayo sa concentration and absorption. These mirrors ay nire-reflect ang init ng araw patungo sa fixed tube nito na nasa taas. Yung pag na ganon, nag-reflect sa mirror, aangat siya dito sa absorber niya na nakapix lang. And ang tagatanggap ay mayroong malaki at nakampirming absorber na humihigop ng nakapokus na energy mula sa araw. Dito naman tayo sa heat generation. The absorber energy ay nagkapainit ng fluids. Yung halimbawa ng fluids is yung molten salt fluids or yung water. And ito ay nasa mataas na temperature na lumilikha ng pinagmumulan ng energy heat. And dito naman tayo sa power generation and storage. These high temperature fluids ay maaring gamitin agad sa thermal na cycle upang lumikha ng steam na nagpapatakbo ng turbine at generator upang lumikha ito ng kuryente, o kaya iniimbak sa mga tangke nito yung heat salt tank and yung kanyang cold salt tank para magamit sa ibang araw na cloudy days, para patuloy na magawa siya ng kuryente. Ang system na ito ay nahati sa solar field na kumukuha ng init galing sa araw, and thermal energy storage para naman sa pag-iimbak ng heat, at sa power block naman kung saan ginagawa na ang electricity. This slide naman is hina-highlight yung kanyang key design and yung difference between linear Fresnel reflector and yung parabolic trough. Dito naman tayo sa parabolic trough. Parabolic trough ay gumagamit ng isang malaking curve na parabolic mirror. And ang mirror na ito ay hugis trap ngayong sa ganon, pa curve siya masyado, upang ituon ang sunlight ng araw mula sa tube nito na tumatanggap ng heat na tumatakbo naman sa linya nito. And dito naman tayo sa linear Fresnel sa reflector. Dito naman, imbis na gumamit ng malaking salamin, ay gumagamit sila ng maraming makitid o yung flat o kaya medyo curved na mirror. Ang mga salamin na ito ay naka-arrange at may distance mula sa gitnang axis nito upang matiyak na nakatuon talaga ang sunlight ng araw mula sa tube na nasa taas nito. And sa parabolic kasi nakagan, 'di ba? Curve siya. Pag tumama dito kunyari yung sunlight is nandito yung kanyang tube, magre-reflect to para uminit yung fluids. And doon naman sa linear Fresnel reflector naman is pag ganito, or medyo naka-curve. Tapos nandito yung sa naka-fix naman yung kanyang tube. Pag tumama yung sunlight dito, tatama dito. Sure, o kasi meron siyang gitna para sure na ma-absorb nga yung sa sunlight. Kailangan may ganun. Para pag tumama dito is tatama rin dito sa kanyang tube. Next naman tayo sa compact linear Fresnel reflector or CLFR. Ito ay isang uri ng improved na linear Fresnel reflector. and it is named for its similarity to Fresnel lens. An optical design kung saan ang mga maliliit at maninipis na lens fragment nito ay kinombine upang gayahin ang paggana ng isang mas makapal at mas simpleng lens. Ang isang system ng CLFR ay maraming makitid at linyadong salamin na sumusunod sa araw ang natutulungan upang magpakita at matrack ang sunlight ng sun. And ang mga salamin nito ay naka-arrange upang matuon ang energy ng araw na patungo sa kanyang observer na nakaayos sa itaas ng design nito. Ang design na ito ay napakahusay sa pagtatrack ng sunlight ng araw na may kakayahan upang pataasin ang tindi ng energy ng araw na humigit kumulang mga 30 times sa karaniwang antas nito. Ang compact na pagsasaayos na ito ay ginagawang option na nakakatipid sa space at mura ang CLFR para sa mga aplikasyon ng concentrated solar power na nakabatay sa mga pangunahing principle ng technology ng LFR habang ino-optimize for greater compactness and for performance.
Let's explore Compact Linear Fresnel Reflector or CLFR. This technology actually has a deep roots dating back to 1961 when Giovanni Francia developed the first linear Fresnel system at University of Genoa in Italy. Francia's work was groundbreaking because it provided that we could use an array of mirrors to create temperatures high enough to heat a fluid and perform mechanical work. As you can see in this diagram, sun rays are captured by single-axis tracking reflectors, which tilt throughout the day to keep the energy focused upward towards the receivers. So, what makes a system compact? Traditional linear Fresnel reflectors typically use one receiver for an entire field of mirrors, which can be inefficient because mirrors often shade one another. The CLFR variation solves this by using multiple receivers positioned close together. This allows individual mirrors the flexibility to direct sunlight to different receivers depending on the sun's position. By doing this, we minimize shading issues and maximize energy capture in much smaller physical footprint, making it highly space-efficient solution. Let's look at the hardware that makes this possible. On the ground, we have a primary reflectors mounted on a support structure. These mirrors are connected to a tracking mechanism that follows the sun. High above, the receiver contains an absorber tube and often a secondary reflector to catch any stray light and focus it back to the tube. Fluid pipings run through these absorber tubes carrying the heat transfer fluid that will eventually be used to generate power. Moving from linear systems to point-focused systems, we have the parabolic dish. Unlike the Fresnel rose we just saw, the parabolic dish is a point-focusing concentrator. It utilizes a full dual-axis solar tracker, meaning it can move both up and down and side to side to stay perfectly aligned with the sun. In many of these designs, A small Stirling engine or a turbine is placed directly at the focus point. This allows it to absorb heat and convert it to energy on the spot, often eliminating the need for long runs of heat transfer fluid and complex heat exchangers. Let's look at the internal process of the dish. The reflective surface, the dish itself, reflects and concentrates the sun's rays onto a single receiver. This receiver converts that intense solar radiation into thermal energy. This can be used by an energy conversion device such as a steam turbine or a Stirling engine to produce electricity. The entire structure is held by a robust foundation and support structure to ensure the cracking mechanism remains precise enough to keep the hotspot exactly on the receiver throughout the day.
So, disadvantage ng parabolic dish. Parabolic dish collector are costly, complex, require large space, manage intense heat poorly, are weather sensitive, and a limited scalability for larger project. So, ang disadvantage ng parabolic dish collector ay costly kasi nga hindi flat mirror yung ginagamit niya pa curve para maging curve yung parang paging plato siya. Tapos complex kasi nga kailangan mo pa ng mga materials para magawa yung pagiging curve niya. Required large space. Kung makikita nyo dun sa slide, malaki yung space na nagagamit niya, yung nasa baba. So, hindi magagamit. Tapos, kung dadamihan mo yung ganito niya, pabilog siya. So, pag pinagdikit-dikit mo yung bilog na yun, may masasayang na space. Tapos, manage distance poorly. So, kahit 750 yung nai-heat niya na 750 degrees Celsius nai-heat na i-heat ng kanyang mirror ay yung pagmamanage niya ng heat is di ganun kaganda compared sa parabolic true. So, have limited capability. So, kung alam naman natin dun sa 6 largest thermal power plant, wala dong gumagamit ng parabolic dish kasi nga gumagamit siya ng large space, tapos di naman ganun ka lakas yung na produce niya na electricity. So, parabolic dish pa rin tayo. Parabolic dish include a receiver, parabolic reflector with solar tracking, and pipe work to carry the heat transfer fluid. So, katulad ng solar tower, so, yung parabolic dish, sinahabol niya rin yung araw. So, tumututok pa rin siya. Parang din siya talagang signal na merong tinatrack yung paggalaw ng sun para nakatutok siya. Tapos, meron siyang pipe. Makikita nyo sa slide, merong parang pipe doon. So, doon dumadaan yung heat transfer fluid. Pagka initan niya na, so magiging gas, pupunta ngayon doon sa tank. So, iinit yun. So, mag-generate yun ng steam. So, ikot ngayon yung turbine. Doon siya mag-create ng electricity. The parabolic dish may be continuous or consist of discrete element to confirm the shape of parabolic. So, yung parabolic dish, gumagamit siya ng flat mirror. Tapos, pag didikit-dikitin niya yon para maging plato. Plato na medyo pamangkok na. So, sabi niya rito, pwedeng dikit-dikit na flat mirror. O kaya meron siyang parang kung ano nyo yung tiles, meron siya nakadikit na onting parang face. So, para pag dinikit mong ganon, magdidikit siya. Parang ganon din yung sinasabi niya rito.
discrete element to confirm shape of parabolic. So tapos na tayo sa parabolic dish, punta naman tayo sa solar tower. So the setup include an array of large number computer controlled sun tracking mirror known as helostats. The sunlight can be concentrated as much as 1.5 times its normal intensity. This mirror move in the axis and located at the ground level, which collected energy from the sun and reflect toward the receiver, which contained HTP heat transfer fluid located at the top of the tower. So makikita nyo naman dun sa PowerPoint sa slide. So yung sinasabi niya, ayun daw yung mga mirror. Yung nag-receive ng heat from the sun. So yun daw, gumagalaw yan. So pagka tinamaan ng sun, nire-reflect dito sa tower. Ito, para siyang yung sa dagat. Yung watchtower. So yung puti na yun, yung dun nag-reflect yung sun. Andun daw yung HTF. So pupunta siya sa baba. Pupunta yung init ngayon dun ng HTF. Pupunta niya init dun sa heat exchanger. So iinit ngayon yung water sa baba. So the HTF is being heated at the ground 600 degrees Celsius. And just like in parabolic 2, this HTF through pipe it gives to set of heat exchanger, then it transfer heat to water, thereby generating high pressure superheated steam which is being used to turn a steam turbine. So kumpara sa parabolic, this 600 lang yung degrees na nai-heat ng solar tower compare sa 750 ng parabolic dish. So parang ganoon din daw sa parabolic true. So may pipe din siya na pinangdadaanan ng HTF. Pupunta ngayon sa exchanger, papainit yung water. So mag-generate ngayon ng steam. Yung steam na yun, papaikutin ngayon yung steam turbine. So mag-generate siya ng electricity. So ang pinagkaiba lang ng solar tower sa iba, so siya yung pinakamataas na scaling, yung 1.5 times its normal intensity compare sa ibang form ng thermal energy. Punta naman tayo sa heat transfer fluid or HTF. Ano nga ba ang HTF? The selecting appropriate heat transfer fluid is critical for efficiency of solar thermal power station. Several key factors determine which fluids best suited for specific plant. So ito daw yung kailangan maging katangian ng isang fluid para maging heat transfer fluid para magamit sa thermal power station. So 6. Tingnan natin isa-isa. Number 1, operating temperature. Kung ang temperature siya magiging magbo-boiled o magiging gas. Life cycle, kung hanggang kailan siya pwedeng gamitin. Siyempre, kung gagamitin mo fluid is 10 lang yung life cycle niya compare sa iba. So yung gagamitin mo yung matagal gamitin para hindi pa ulit-ulit na pagbili or paggawa ng fluid na yun. Heat transfer capability, syempre dahil nga gagamit tayo ng HTF, heat transfer fluid, sa pangalan pa lang syempre dapat mataas yung heat transfer capability niya. Heat storage aspect, ito naman, heat storage aspect, kung yung heat na fluid ay hindi ganun ka maselan katulad sa fluid na yun, mas maganda siya gamitin. Overall safety. Tapos cost, syempre pinakamahalaga is cost. Syempre kung mahal yung gagamitin mong fluid, tapos yung maliit lang din naman yung kamukha lang din naman dun sa mga mura na fluid na generate mong electricity, syempre gagamitin mo yung mas mura. So merong 4 na nagamit na HTF. So ay bali 6 pala. Water, molten salt, glycol base, glycerin base, Tsaka, ano isa? Synthetic oil, yun yung mga ginagamit na HTF karaniwan. So, punta naman tayo sa advantage ng solar thermal system. A solar thermal system primary advantage that it provides a clean, renewable energy source for heating water or space by harnessing the sun's heat, resulting in significant cost saving on energy bill, while reducing carbon footprint due to minimal emission during operation. It can also be integrated into existing system. It is considered low maintenance in most climate. So, siyempre pinakaunang advantage ng solar thermal system is pagiging green energy niya or wala siyang greenhouse gases na napoproduce. Tapos, syempre, kung yung kunyari may bakante na space, so kaysa nakatenga siya, pwede mo siyang lagyan ng solar thermal system para hindi masayang kasi nga libre lang na arawan naman din siya. So gamitin mo na ngayon yung araw na yun para mag-generate ng electricity. So, tapos nare-reduce yung energy bill sa pamamagitan ng yun nga hindi pag-create ng maraming carbon emission tulad ng mga fossil fuel. So yan. Tapos pwede din daw siya magamit sa existing system. So kung paano siya gamitin sa susunod na future o sa mga maging referensya ng future researcher.
So, tumako tayo sa advantage of solar thermal system. So, una dito yung environmentally friendly. Environmentally friendly, ito yung dahil halos wala itong greenhouse gas emissions na nakakasira sa ating kalikasan. Ganun. So, dito yung cost effective. Yun, sa cost effective siya naman yung long term dahil nakakatipid sa kuryente. Kahit magastos, kahit ginastos mo sa pagpapagawa ganun, is effective siya pang matagalan. So, nandito yung renewable energy source na kung saan dahil yun nga sa araw libre lang, dito nauubos, di ba? Sunod dito yung potential for grid independence na kung saan nakakatulong ito para mabawasan yung pagdepende sa electricity grid. Sunod dito yung low maintenance. Yun nga, mababa lang yung maintenance niya, like mas makakamura, mas makakatipid, gano'n. Next dito is flexibility in application na magagamit sa domestic hot water heating, gano'n, space heating, and even pool heating. And lastly, yung potential for government incentives. Yun nga, maraming regions na nag-offer ng tax, yun, and rebates yun nga, sa pag-install ng solar thermal system. So yun, solar thermal system ay isang practical at sustainable na paraan ng paggamit ng enerhiya. So, the next slide is in disadvantage of solar thermal system. The primary disadvantage of solar thermal system is its dependence on sunlight, meaning it cannot generate, requiring a backup heating source and potentially limiting its overall efficiency. So, additionally, the initial installation cost can be high and large areas of land may be needed for optimal performance, especially for large-scale applications. So, yun nga. Disadvantage niya is ng solar thermal system, yung pagdepende niya nito sa sikat ng araw. Kapag maulap o gabi, dito gaanong nakaka-generate ng init. So, walang energy, ganun, nakukuha dito. Kaya kailangan ng backup heating system. Bukod dito, mas mataas din ng initial installation cost at para sa malaking proyekto, kailangan ng malawak na lupa para maging efficient ang system. So, next disadvantage ng solar thermal system is yung weather dependency solar thermal. So, yun nga. Yung weather dependency. Malaki epekto ng panahon sa performance ng system, lalo na tuwing maulan. Hindi siya masyadong effective. Yun. Makikita dito na yun yan, reduce efficiency on cloudy days or during winter months with less sunlight. Yun, hindi siya naging effective tuwing winter, ganun. Or maulan. Sunod dito, high initial cost. Pag-installing a solar thermal system can involve substantial upfront cost for the collectors, storage tanks, pumps, and installation. So yung malaki yung upfront cost niya para sa mga kagamitan tulad ng collectors and storage tanks. So third is yung space requirements. Large solar thermal system can require significant land area to effectively capture sunlight, which can be a limitation in urban areas na yun nga, maaring maging limitasyon nito lalo na sa mga lugar na masikip o urban areas. Yun, kailangan talaga ng mas malawak na areas para solar thermal system. So, ito naman, sunod na disadvantage of solar thermal system. So, dito yung need for backup heating to ensure continuous hot water supply. Backup heating system is often necessary for days with low solar radiation. So, disadvantage na ito yung need ng backup heating. Yun, para to ensure continuous hot water supply. So, sunod dito yung maintenance needs. Yun, regular maintenance is required to ensure optimal performance, including cleaning the collectors to maintain efficiency. Yun nga, kailangan regular na mini-maintain yung optimal performance niya para mas maging efficient. So, sunod dito yung potential for water usage. Some solar thermal systems like parabolic through designs require water for cooling, which can be a concern in water scarce regions. Yun nga, nagiging disadvantage sa ibang lugar dahil ng sa mga land na or mga country na bihira lang umulan, ganun, kasi kailangan ng water dito. Yun, require water for cooling nga, di ba? Which can be concerned sa ibang region gaya sa like ito example na sa Dubai, ganun. Dubai, UAE, yun, di ba? Hirap sila sa water, parang ganun. So dahil doon maliles yung water para sa cooling. Susunod dito is yung less efficient in cold climates. The efficiency of solar thermal system can be decreased significantly in colder climates due to heat loss from the collectors. So yung efficiency daw po ng solar thermal system ay nababawasan sa colder climates dahil sa heat loss from the collectors. Hindi lang naman kasi yun, kasi pag malamig mawawala rin yung heat. So kailangan balance siya para sa efficient na masusupplyan niya ng energy. So yun, maraming salamat po. Pakinig. I hope marami kayong natutunan.